Hey everyone, Tom here, and today we are getting into the world of AI and how that has infiltrated the world of interior design. And if that sounds a little bit on the negative side, well, I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of AI when it comes to interior design. I am not the AI expert. I know it's being used in pretty much everything from A to Z out there today. AI does have a lot of very useful uses when it comes to things like ChatGPT and other programs and tools that really do help you to research things and come up with ideas more quickly and stuff. I use it and it's been very, very helpful, very time saving thing. I do have to say that for people who might not know, you do have to go back and check everything that comes back because when I'm researching a particular topic, there's things that it comes back with and you're like, "What is that?" And it's just like it can come up with some pretty weird stuff. And it does tend to write in a very generic manner, and I think it's pretty easy to spot when something has been written with AI. I never just copy and paste. I will literally put it into a Word document or into something else that I'm using to create some content with, and then I just completely redo it. And in some ways, it almost takes me as much time as it would if I had just gone and done it all myself from the beginning. But it is very helpful from that research standpoint to at least get you some bullet points, get you some ideas. And so, in that sense, it's actually pretty good. Where I become one who is against AI is when it comes to imagery. I'm sorry, I am just not a fake imagery person. I am not a professional photographer. I love the images that I can take with my little cell phone here, and I'm quite happy with them. But I completely appreciate the whole field of photography and the talent that these people have, regardless of what your subject matter is, what your specialty is. I think photographers are just amazing people. And when they're really, really good at what they're doing, I think it's just really, really sad when other people come in with computer generated content and try to pass it off as the real thing. It is something that is concerning to me because in the world of interior design, exterior design, these are people's homes. That's where a lot of people have really cool dreams about what they want their spaces to look like. And then they go and spend their hard earned money on it. And along the way, when it comes to redoing a space, whether it's just a small project or it's a complete renovation, there's a lot of hiccups. There's a lot of things that go over budget. There's just a lot of things that can cause some stress and frustration. And so now when you've got computer generated content getting in there and it's giving you ideas and things that aren't necessarily possible, or it's just creating some false expectations about stuff. And I've heard this from other designers and it's out there. If you go ahead and research it online and you read what people in the design industry have to say, it's a problem. So today I just wanted to go ahead and get into some details here about what you can be on the lookout for, especially as you're looking for inspiration. You are out there looking for ideas. So one thing that I do want to say beforehand, though, is that when you are out there looking for ideas and you come across a store like Floor & Decor or any other major retailer of things that you need for your home, whether it's flooring or home furnishings or lighting or whatever, and they have AI tools on their site, those are cool. I love those because even though they're not perfect, they really do help to give you an idea of what a potential product could look like in your home. To me, that's a big time saver. And on Floor & Decor, I took a picture of my entryway. I have a very long entryway in my home here, and I've got really big saltillo tile on the floor that's set down on the diagonal, which I absolutely love. It's been down almost 20 years and I still love it. I'm not changing it. But I was just curious to see how this tool on Floor & Decor worked. So I took a picture of my entryway, uploaded it, and from there you can put in hardwoods, anything from really light colored bamboo floorings to just some kind of mid-range colors when it comes to maple flooring, getting into some darker mahoganies and things like that, just to see what it would look like. The tool is really good about wiping out the floor as the background, saving any furnishings and floor accents and things like that, and then replacing it with these products that you select. And again, the colors are not going to be completely spot on because when it comes to screen resolutions and things like that, that obviously alters what a real product is going to look like in real life, but it sure gives you a good idea if something is going to work. And when it comes to just things like how narrow your floor planks are or how wide they are, or if you're going to get into tile, whether you're using smaller tile or larger tile, setting it linearly or doing it on the diamond, the diagonal there, it really does help. So I am not going to be critical of those tools at all because they're there to help you and they're there to save you time. When you get into the store, you will have already narrowed down a lot of stuff that won't work, and then you can focus on what does work. So for the purposes of today, I want to get into inspiration and ideas and how you can get bogged down with this. If you are working with a designer, I think that you should really ask them, where are they getting their inspiration from? What are they doing as they research your project? Because there are some designers who will use what they're finding online and it's AI generated, and it might be on the better quality side or something like that. But still, the issue that I have with that is it starts to detract from originality. The thing with AI is it is all based on algorithms and content that is already out there. So what the algorithms do is they're going to take the most liked things, the most engaged things with images, and then it collects all of this together. And over time, what I've noticed, stuff starts to look the same. The AI generated content that I've seen all kind of looks the same. There's the better quality stuff, which is somewhat usable and can give you some ideas about colors and what might work and not work. And then there's just the crazy fantasy land stuff out there, which there's way too much of, and just these dreamlike inspired grand living rooms and kitchens, which again, it's just total fantasy land. But that's what all of these things tend to start looking like. And what I fear in the world of design is that it's going to start to dilute creativity. Things that designers are going to pull together are going to look more and more the same. So I'm just very wary of that kind of thing. And I think you should be too. If you're working with a designer, I think that they should be using original imagery, which is real photographic content, to help bring you ideas and inspiration that you're going to need. And it's the same if you're doing everything DIY, which is what we really promote here at Cerulean Bay to help save a ton of money. There, you should also be working with real imagery. So just be very careful. I'll get into some details here about what you can use to determine whether something is AI or not. You might not get it 100% every time because there really is some AI content out there that's very good, and you really have to look for weird stuff. And having said that, if there's some element of realism in it, if it's a realistic image and it's not conveying something that's impossible to do, then it's okay to use that for inspiration. And an example that I would give of that is when I was looking for a particular blog post that I was writing about when it came to windows and window treatments and things like this to do. When I go out there and look for imagery, I'm looking for the real thing. I want to be able to give a proper photo credit or an image credit. I always credit the source. I link to it if possible. Try to be very, very transparent that it's not my image. And when I go and I see something that is from Dreams Time or Free Pick or something like this, where those companies have chosen to allow a lot of AI content in, that tells me right there, then there's not a real person behind it other than the person who created it on a computer. But when it comes to you getting online and looking to see, hey, I need some new window treatments, I want to do something different, what a lot of people tend to do is they'll get online and they'll start looking. And if they come across these images, you see these beautiful floor-to-ceiling windows, and they've always got some really nice drapery on the side, and the lighting is always idealized in there. And it just is like an attempt to create the most perfect setting. And that doesn't exist in real life. Even with real photography, you can tell that it is a real image because the lighting is just going to appear to be more natural. You'll see textures and details and things that computer-generated stuff does not create. It's just not there yet and can't create that level of detail. But that's where I think it gets difficult for people is you see an image like this, you bring it to a designer or you take it to a showroom where you want to purchase some windows, or maybe you want to have an installer come out and measure, the first thing they're going to do is look at that picture and say, well, okay, you've got floor to ceiling windows in here. Those are at least 12 feet high, maybe higher. How high are your ceilings? What if you didn't measure them? What if at home you only have 9-foot ceilings or 10-foot ceilings? If you should happen to point out in this image that you're trying to create this same kind of vibe, and it's got this artificial light coming through the window and then the way it's reflecting off of everything in the room, a good designer or a good salesperson at a showroom is going to tell you trying to create this look is impossible. And then they'll probably point out that it's AI generated, or that, they might start asking you, well, what direction do your windows face? Especially if you have north-facing windows, you're not going to get this sunny view coming in the morning where it's almost like the cartoon bluebird is ready to enter your living room or something like that, because that's how a lot of these pictures look, to be honest. They're going to be straight with you. They're not going to want to sell you something that at the end of the day, then you're going to be trying to return, trying to have undone, and just creating a lot of hell for that person at the store. So a good salesperson is going to prevent that from the get-go. So where I'm going with this is that with AI, these algorithms and everything else that's behind the curtain there, they're really good at analyzing a ton of data, and they generate solutions based on patterns and trends and all of that stuff. But the whole creativity aspect, the judgment and aesthetics is not there. That requires a human touch. We are just not there yet. When you're looking at the judgment of aesthetics and you are listening to your client, what it is that they're trying to recreate in their space, or you as a DIY person, in your mind what it is you're trying to create. You're being very real about it. You're being very honest about it. You know that nobody out there has a magic wand, and you just really understand what it is that you have to work with. And if you've gone through our Tropical Home Transformation program, that's really going to help you understand and nail down what it is you have to work with, because what you don't have, you don't have. So, we cover everything in there, from the sources of lighting that you have, the direction your window's facing, the amount of shading and shadowing that you have going on in your house. I mean, honestly, you have to look at what is practical. What can you really do? And that's where, when you get into the world of AI imagery, that's lacking. It is just completely lacking in there. It's that whole personal connection between you and what you're looking at in your design inspiration. So that has to be there, because otherwise you are going to be chasing an illusion. You're going to be chasing something that cannot be replicated to the degree that is being shown in this image. And you could very well be setting yourself up for a ton of disappointment. Because the important thing to remember here is interior design is not only about visual appeal. It's not only about what something looks like. You have to take your own human emotions and put it into this too. When you're in any room in your house, it's going to make you feel a particular way. And when you are trying to create a tropical escape at home, it has to be authentic. It has to be a reflection of you. And that is based on an awesome place that you visited, some really cool tropical resort that was just mind-blowing and wonderful. Or it's a place that you came across online that you are dreaming of visiting. And when I say online, you've been to the resort website, you've read the reviews, you've researched it, you've seen real imagery. There's nothing computer generated about it. This is the kind of inspiration that I'm talking about. So that's the kind of thing that goes into your tropical escape at home. It's your emotions. It's you. It's how is that room going to make you feel? Never discount that. That has got to be primary and at the front of everything that you're doing. So what I want to do now is just give you a few tips, things that you can look for when you are looking at an image and you're like, okay, is this the real deal or not? Some are more obvious than others, but it's almost fun to try to find the detail. It's like those pictures maybe you did as a kid, find what's wrong with this picture or find what does not belong here. It's kind of that thing because what you want to do is you don't want to look at the image as a whole because at first glance, they can look really cool. It's when you start to look at the details. You want to look at decorative accents. Things are going to be in strange places sometimes. There's going to be a vase that's placed somewhere where it clearly doesn't belong. My favorite is when there's just a jumbled image of something that's supposed to be a decor piece placed on a table or on a coffee table or it's on the floor by a window, but you can't tell what the hell it is. You're looking at it and you're like, man, is that some funky modern art or what is that thing over there? Appliances are a good one where the appliances are either out of scale or a refrigerator is missing a door handle. My favorite are the stove tops because a lot of times the knobs are not lined up evenly or it's clearly missing the burners or the elements on the top. It's just like a flat surface. You'll find pot filler faucets that are way off center. They're not placed directly over the stove. When it comes to windows, you're going to see missing window panes. I had a really cool example, which actually, when I do my YouTube video, I'm going to show this in there. It's the train wreck farmhouse kitchen, I call it. Because a lot of people, when you want to remodel your kitchen, okay, well, if you're going, big time here, you're ripping out countertops and appliances are going to be in new locations and things like that. And I've seen some homes where cooktop ranges are placed in front of a window. And these are real pictures. Some people really do this. I kind of find that an odd thing to do because, yeah, it's nice to have a view pretty much from wherever you're standing. But, when you're cooking, you've got grease going, you've got steam going. I mean, those windows are going to be getting dirty. Well, there's an example where there's draperies on either side of the window. And on the left side, there are panels from the curtains that are hanging directly over the stove. What a lovely way to catch your house on fire. It's just stupid stuff like that. One of the most common things that people see when it comes to AI is when it comes to people. AI is terrible when it comes to things like your fingers or your hands. I mean, a lot of people will have like 8 fingers on each hand or something is just kind of twisted and in a weird position. There's just a distortion that's not natural. I mean, it's kind of creepy sometimes too. But what you want to do is look at the placement of things. When you're looking at faucets, whether they're in the kitchen or they're in a bathroom, faucets are not where they are supposed to be. Or sometimes there's one there and there's no sink under it. There's just little extra details and lines or, I don't know, the floating things. Sometimes you'll just see like a faucet floating there and it's not really over anything. Another example where AI falls down is when it comes to furniture. It's pretty good with sofas, and I don't know if it's because sofas are just bigger, so the computer just has more to work with. But when it comes to chairs, sometimes it's just really funny because you'll see literally half a chair. Or if you're looking at the legs, there's only 3. If you're looking at a dining room table and you can clearly see the chairs placed around it at floor level, but then you look up past the top of the table, some of the backs of the chairs will be missing. It's just crazy stuff like that. So another area where I think AI falls down is just when it comes to textures and patterns of things. And if you're one who has some really cool like bar stools or countertop stools or something, or maybe there's a breakfast area where you've got some kind of thatched seating, something that's maybe made from rattan or cane, something like that, it's not going to work with AI. The pattern won't be consistent. You'll have big, patchy, smooth areas in there, seams that are out of place. It's hard to get a really good, valid idea of what something is going to look like if you're not looking at an actual picture of these kinds of things. And when you're getting into textures and patterns, you need to have the most accuracy that you can to help you make the best purchasing decision. So the stuff that I've come across when it comes to tropical design in kitchens, it's awful. There's just no way to say it. I was looking at these images and I'm like, you know what? I got to go to a store's website. I've got to find a store here in Houston. I've got to do something where I can go see this in person. Or if I can't do that, I've got to find a seller of this online so that I can see the actual product online, because this AI stuff is just crap. It's horrible when it comes to tropical design. One last example that I'll give to you here. is when you're looking at bold prints, like for an accent wall, or maybe you want to do some wallpaper. This works very, very well when you have a lot of windows. So it breaks it up. You're not going to have too much wallpaper. Well, AI is generating big, huge banana leaves and palm leaves all over the walls, the back of the stoves, across your vent hood. I've even seen one image where it goes across the top of the refrigerator. How are you supposed to be able to get proper inspiration and really calculate in your mind if this is something that would work in your space when you're looking at that kind of thing? So maybe this is elementary for a lot of you. I certainly don't mean to talk down to anybody, but where I'm coming with the response that I have today from this is a lot of stuff that I see on Facebook. Facebook is flooded with this stuff. There are some groups and pages that I follow, but the minute I start to see any AI stuff in there, I unfollow it, I block it, I don't want to see it. When I see the comments that people make, and by the hundreds, people are in there, oh, I love it. This is dreamy. Oh, my dream place. I have to have this. It's like, people, there'll be that one person with a brain who's like, people, this is AI. This is not the real deal. This is not possible to do. So that's where I'm coming from. I mean, even yesterday, some of the things that I post about does have to do with travel, and I do reviews for different resorts and hotels. And pink beaches was a topic that was big on Facebook for some reason yesterday. And I've done my research on pink beaches. I know where most of them are in the world. Most of them I have not been to, but they're not Pepto-Bismol pink. They are not girly bedroom pink. And people alter these images, which could be an original photo, and now they're just playing with the color saturation on it. And people are believing this. They're buying into that. To me, that's just so frustrating because you're going to have people looking at these images who might make a vacation decision based on what they're looking at. And if somebody in there is posting where this supposed beach is at, and now you stop your research right there and you find a hotel in that area and you're dragging the family down there for some cool vacation, and you get down there and that sand maybe has a little pinkish hue to it, but that's it. And maybe depending on the amount of sunlight that's shining that day, if it's a cloudy day, maybe there's no pink. This is your tip for the day when it comes to vacation places with pink beaches. Look at real images only. Find images that are in sunny weather, that are in cloudy weather. Make sure you're looking at images where nobody has played with the color saturation, nothing is altered, because just imagine how disappointing it would be to actually get down there and you're like, this is nothing like in the picture. And on this particular Facebook post, there were people who have traveled to some of these beaches and were actually uploading images of what they took to try to show people who were just salivating over these images that, guys, this isn't real. What you're looking at isn't real. And they're just trying to educate these people like, you know what? We were at Horseshoe Bay Beach in Bermuda last year. It didn't look at all like that. It looked like this. And their picture was nice. It's just kind of a pinkish brownish tone. Again, probably depending on the day, depending on the tide. Some days are going to be more pink than others. Another good example is when you go to Pink Sand Beach, Harbor Island in the Bahamas. That's another one. I've seen pictures of that place from every shade of pink. Some of them I didn't know if the colors were altered or not. I have not personally been there. But again, if you're going to be spending your hard-earned money and your hard-earned vacation time, you want to go to places where you're going to see the real deal. Then there's other places like the pink sand beaches in Tahiti. There's a few beaches there that are. Those are barely pink. I've seen a lot of images. There's a little pink hue to it. So anyways, I digress with this, but maybe it just shows you all the level of frustration I have when things are not authentic, when things are fake. I don't like fake stuff. I don't like things that are not authentic when it's in home decor, when it comes to things that you are seeing on your screen, and you are going to be spending your hard-earned money, whether it's on home decor, whether it's on a vacation. You want things to be the real deal. So moving on from there, what I wanted to do now is just give you some alternatives to Pinterest, because Pinterest used to be a great place to go for inspiration. I loved it when it came out. And we at Cerulean Bay, we were going to build a page over there, but to be honest, we just didn't have time to do it. And now, since we've restructured some things and we have some different ways of working here, I thought, maybe this would be time to do that. But I noticed as I was doing my blog posts and then just trying to look for some imagery, for inspiration for my show, there's a lot of AI. And I'm like, there's just more and more AI. And when it comes to looking for things tropical, it's brutal on Pinterest. I mean, almost everything is fake. And so then I started coming across some news articles about this, about where Pinterest is headed, how they're actually losing viewers, they're losing subscribers because people are just getting pissed off. They are looking for things that are genuine, and everything has just been diluted with all of this AI stuff over on Pinterest. Well, then I wanted to get Pinterest's point of view on this, and I came across an article where Pinterest is actually in favor of what's going on. They think it adds to creativity. They just didn't really seem to think that it was a problem. And then connected to that news article was another one about how people are getting on YouTube and they're showing how you can make a ton of money by posting all of this AI garbage to places like Pinterest, and they're making a killing in ad revenue. So I'm not sure of all the ways that you make money on Pinterest. Again, we never developed our page there, but ad revenue apparently seems to be something. And one guy was just proudly talking about how he makes over 10 grand a month generating this stuff. He even named a couple of the systems that he uses. And this guy wasn't just doing home decor stuff. He was doing a lot of stuff that revolved around recipes and food. Apparently, it's a problem where when you're going in there looking for a particular dish, like maybe pineapple chicken with rice or something like this, and you click on it and it takes you to a supposed profile, and then there's a picture of some lady in a circle and her name is Alice, and hi, I'm Alice. And then it goes on about what she does. It's obviously an AI generated picture. And then I guess you click on it and then it takes you to some spammy site where it has very little to do with food. I actually clicked on one that was about a Hawaiian chicken recipe, and it took me to a site where they show you how to do floating shelves on your wall. And I'm like, well, wait, I'm ready to make a really cool chicken dinner here. And now I'm reading about how to put shelves on my wall in a floating pattern and just all this other unrelated content. So Pinterest to me is just going down that slippery slope. I can't use it anymore. I'm thinking of just closing my account with them anyway, because I don't see how what I'm doing would ever stand out among all the noise that's on there with all of this AI stuff. So what I'm looking at here, just a couple of alternatives. And what I'm about to mention, these are sites that I haven't really used yet, but I've read the reviews, I've looked at the pros, looked at the cons, I've read an article or two about what other bloggers have to say about them. And there are a couple good ones out there for people who want inspiration, people who want to maybe create a mood board. You want to be able to make a collection of things that you can go back to. Some of these sites might charge you monthly to do that, depending on the amount of content you have. It appears that some of them do. But one of these is a site called Behance, and they call it a social media platform that's owned by Adobe. You can find a ton of free photos. They have the vectors and fonts, and it's very good for people who want to showcase their work, good for designers who want to do that. It looks like they have a really good free plan, but you can go on there and you can access the work of real creatives, real people who are taking real pictures, designers who are designing real things and posting real imagery. So Behance looks like it could potentially be a good one. Another one that I came across here was Mix. So Mix.com. They say that this one is free and that it is good for personalized content discovery, curated collections, easy content sharing. I guess it used to be known as Stumble Upon for anybody who might have known that. But they say that it is now surpassing Pinterest when it comes to discovering stunning real imagery, which is what you want. And they're very popular in fashion, music, nature, architecture. So interior design is in there as well. So Mix.com looks like it's a good one. Hopefully they are not getting invaded by these AI people. And then the last one I wanted to mention here was called Designspiration. So it's not Designs Inspiration, it's Designspiration. And that's another one that's getting some pretty good marks about mood board creation, visual searches, really good inspiration collections. They have a lot of great pro comments about it. That's another one I'm going to go ahead and recommend because I was actually on there yesterday and it did seem to be pretty good. Actually, there is a fourth one that I want to mention. It's called Pearl Trees. And this one's good for visual bookmarking. And yeah, this one I'm glad I didn't forget about because it looks like it works a lot like Pinterest, but you can collect all kinds of web pages and files and photos and things like that. So these seem to be companies that are actively trying to keep the AI out of their stuff. One of the articles that I read said that some of these companies are actively anti-AI, which is what they should be. So as I mentioned at the top of the show, where AI is helpful is if you are doing some online shopping and you are at Floor and Decor, or you're at one of these other stores and they have tools that help you imagine what something would look like in your home, those are perfectly fine. Upload an image, it'll replace everything. That stuff's cool. But when you're just out there looking for tropical inspiration, tropical kitchens, tropical bedrooms or living rooms, or you just want to see textures or patterns or something like that, real imagery is the way to go. So now that you know where I stand with AI in interior and exterior design, because we'll get into that when I release content about exterior design, I've seen some pretty crazy stuff when it comes to people who just want to put in a pool or, they want to redo some landscaping in their backyard. And suddenly things are looking like they have some 5-acre estate in Beverly Hills that's costing $30 million. It's like, but I only wanted to put in a few plants and, maybe put in a water feature for my pool. It's not going to look like this big Beverly Hills estate. So it's just crazy. It's just crazy stuff. But again, now that you know where I stand with this, if you were to ask me, do I think that AI will ever really replace interior designers or like landscape architects and people like this? No. The quick and easy answer for me on that is no, because again, there's no emotional connection with AI. If you are going to talk to somebody to get some real ideas, then there has to be that connection. You need to be talking with people who understand how things affect you emotionally when you are in your perfect space at home, when you get it to look just the way you want it, everything's in place, colors, furniture, everything is there. That has to be conveyed so that the right vibe can then be created. If you're doing things yourself, you rely on professional images. You look at professional imagery. You look at what professional people have created to get your inspiration if you need ideas. So no, I don't think AI will ever replace people when it comes to this. I don't think it will ever replace professional photography. I think it's going to get close when it comes to photographers and what they can put out there as AI gets better and more refined. But there's just those little things. AI is a long way off when it comes to lighting. Just that fake, faux filtered lighting that comes in through windows and everything just kind of has a matte finish. It's kind of a flat look to it. You'll notice that plants don't have any veining on their leaves. Everything looks perfect. You'll notice that books on shelves don't have titles. The spines are empty. AI can be just very one-dimensional when it comes to the details and the colors. So having said that, your big tip here is stay away from AI imagery when it comes to creating your tropical escape. If you happen to come across it and it gives you some good ideas, follow up with those ideas by looking for the real thing. It's like, okay, if I put this and this and this here, and I really do decide to do my windows this way, let me find some real examples of this to make sure that it would really work. And measure your spaces. I've got a section in the Tropical Home Transformation Guide about how to measure. There's a really good chapter in there about that. Make sure to measure your spaces. To make sure that you know how high your ceilings are, know how tall and how wide your windows are, know your square footage, and then that will help keep you grounded when it comes to looking for inspiration. So with that, I want to remind you to sign up for the Cabana Lounge newsletter. I've got a link for it in the show notes. We've got another cool issue coming out on Monday, and you can also check out Tropical Designs at Home. I've got a link for that. That is where the Tropical Home Transformation Guide is. The self-discovery assessment, it's only $29, and it will really reveal to you what you love about the tropics versus what you think you love about the tropics. It will really help you to confirm what is possible at home versus what is not possible at home. And it will really help you to set realistic expectations about what you can and cannot do so that you're not out there wasting time and money. I think $29 is a steal for that. Then there's also the coaching calls. I'm available 30 minutes for $30. We can talk about anything related to tropical design. If you want to bounce any ideas off of me, just anything about the tropics, go ahead and schedule a call. The link to my calendar is in there, and I think it would be just great to actually talk with you and just, again, help you maybe put up a few guardrails that you need to keep you on track. So with that, I wish you an awesome week. Thanks so much for tuning in. You guys are amazing out there. I really appreciate all of the support and the nice comments that I've been getting. And yes, lots of health, happiness, and tropical inspiration. We'll see you next week. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.